There is one scene inside the theater that has a little bit more meat to it when you stumble on a photo of Jessie. Do you remember this scene?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From the production love list, like hanging on the wall in the hall entrance. So this is a little bit different depending on who you're on a date with as well. So with Aerith notices the photo on the wall and asks Cloud if he knew her. And then Cloud says it's Jessie.
Do you know her?
I do. That's Jessie. She died fighting for Avalanche.
You know she was an actress?
Yeah. She was a good friend. Not that I deserved one.
Just a friend? Or a girlfriend? You can be pretty dense when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Which is clearly hinting at him being oblivious to how either she or Tifa feels about him, maybe both of them even. So Aerith in this way is actually taking the conversation, which I think is interesting, away from Jessie and like putting it on her and
the flirtiness. Yeah.
Like a kind of a flirty way, kind of a little condescending.
She gave as good as she got. Never cut me any slack. And yeah, just a friend.
Sure was that black and white?
And again, she's bringing it back to like, you're dumb, I'm standing right in front of you or something. At least that's how I read it.
I like that better. Did you know what happens with the Tifa version?
Yeah, I'll go through that too.
Okay, cool.
But it's interesting because in the Aerith conversation here, it's not really about Jessie at all. It's about Cloud and him being an idiot when it comes to girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Cloud doesn't understand what Aerith means, she tells him he has a lot to learn.
She was a good friend. I don't follow.
You, young man, still have a lot to learn, right?
So while the scene pays respect to Jessie, it's not really about Jessie. It's about Cloud being oblivious with girls, which makes the scene actually interesting, but not like sweet, more like...
I like it more, but that's probably because I'm into Aerith.
Yeah.
Because it felt like a date with Aerith. It does not feel like a date with the other ones.
That's true. Because they're talking about like dating kind of stuff. And
yeah, and she's flirting with Cloud, right?
She is, but it's like... I don't know. It's fine.
Because she brings up the whole, like Cloud's affect that he's aloof and he's oblivious to that stuff, right? And Aerith's like, hey, like we're on a date.
Like, you're dumb. I'm standing right in front of you.
I was going to say, you can make the argument that is like most males in the world. So it's bigger than just Cloud.
My reason is it's like they're building up this date. We know we're going to go on a date, right? And then it's like, okay, are we going to go on a date? We go on a date with Aerith. It feels like a date.
Yeah.
And then there's other moments when you're with Tifa that feel like a date.
Yeah. So let's look at this scene with Tifa. So
yeah,
if you're with Tifa, then I think this scene is actually pretty nice, but it isn't very date-ish, right?
Right.
So it's much more about Tifa's honest relationship with Jessie.
Yeah.
Than anything having to do with Cloud. Right. So Tifa actually walks in and she sees the Jessie photo and she talks about how Jessie welcomed Tifa into their group of friends and did a lot for her.
Back when I was still finding my feet in Midgar, I ran into some trouble. But she took me under her wing, helped me out, saved me, really.
Sounds like her.
I admired her. She was so cool and confident. Like nothing could bring her down.
Yeah, I know.
And if you learn about Tifa's backstory outside of the game, like you play like other games or read books, you find out that Jessie played a major role in welcoming Tifa to this Avalanche group of friends. And Tifa says that she owes Jessie a lot and even thanks her photo, right? And then Cloud is there to watch and support, but it's not about him. It's about Tifa and it's about Jessie, which I actually think is a really nice moment, but it's not really a dating moment at all.
Right. And I think it makes sense because they have history with Jessie and Aerith doesn't really know her, right?
Right, totally.
Whereas when I went on the date, this is more fresh in my memory because I just replayed it on hard mode. I was with Tifa and she expresses as Cloud opens the door and it's like, oh, hey, Tifa. She's like, well, everyone kind of left, so do you want to go with me? And then Tifa expresses that it was hard for her to make friends quickly and that she, struggles with that.
You alone?
Yeah, Red's off doing his own thing, and Aerith and Yuffie are taking a spin on the Skywheel. They're only letting couples on tonight. So here I am, the odd woman out. They hit it off quick, huh? Must be nice to make friends that easily.
What, like you can't?
I don't know. I act like I can. Think I always have. Ever since I was a kid.
So that moment is really nice because she kind of expresses some of her vulnerability and making friends and kind of how Jessie was able to help her out.
Yeah, and then if you go on the date alone, because you either had the most relationship points with Barrett or Red, then you see Jessie's photo on the wall and it triggers some flashbacks.
Oh, that's cool.
Of Cloud with Jessie. And then Cloud tells her by looking at her photo that he's still waiting on that pizza.
That's pretty cool.
So the moment becomes more about Cloud paying respects to Jessie's memory, which is also kind of nice. I actually really liked that version as well.
This game is so cool. Like the fact that you would have all these separate things.
I know. So, and then if you go on the date with Yuffie.
Yeah, this is good.
Oh man, what happens there? Because this has got to be interesting.
So Yuffie is the one who notices the picture of Jessie.
Wow, check her out.
And she stops in awe of this beautiful photo on the wall. And then she like looks at Cloud and realizes that Cloud knows her.
You, know her or something?
She was a friend.
To which Yuffie hilariously says, in all sincerity, that she didn't think he had any friends.
That's so. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that rules.
What? No way. I didn't think you had friends.
Might have just been screwing with me.
Yeah, well, you're lucky she even did that.
I know.
Then she strikes like a sexy pose.
Yeah.
And then she says it seems to be Cloud's destiny to be surrounded by hot girls.
Wait, she says that?
Yeah, she's like,
That
it seems
is
to be your
funny.
destiny that you're surrounded by hot girls.
I swear, Cloud, it's like you're destined to be surrounded by smoking hot chicks.
I honestly think he should have scoffed because honestly, up through this time, like he's always had the not interested vibe with her. But here he actually like laughs and thinks she's cute-ish, funny.
You know what the funniest thing is, though? Nothing that she said was wrong.
That's true.
No, it's not. But like,
It's all the truth.
They all fawn over Cloud like he's the greatest thing.
but you know, she's, I don't know, 16. He's like, what, 20 or 21 or something? She's 16. They're not that far apart. Spencer and I are that far apart and I'm the older one. So it's like.
You're surrounded by hot.
That's just funny, though, that like everything she said was right, including like the part about him not having friends or whatever. Because he does, like,
He is awkward and bad.
he's just now building his core friend network.
Totally.
No, what she says is totally accurate.
This way, babe magnet.
But then as Cloud is about to walk away from the photo, he then looks at the photo and he says the same thing he says on the solo date. He
Pizza.
says, still waiting on that pizza, paying respect to her memory. So he ends it on like a note about Jessie, which is kind of nice.
Forget about this Yuffie girl.